Hi everyone, welcome to North Star Knife Reviews. Got a lovely old knife for you today. This is a Rodgers split back whittler made in Sheffield, England. The best date range that I can figure for this is somewhere between 1910 and 1936. Now, part of the fun of knives is trying to figure out when they were made, those sorts of things. And I'm going to talk through how I came up with that date range for this knife. Now, I can't guarantee that it's correct, but I'm pretty sure. If you know differently, I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. But we will talk about how I came up with the 1910 to 1936 date range on this. Now, as I said, this is a Rodgers knife from Sheffield, England. Let's take a look at this tang stamp on here. Rodgers Cutlers to His Majesty. Right, that's going to be a big clue in the date on this knife. Now you can see on the back we have the star and the Maltese cross, and it says England, which is also an important clue. Now Rodgers started in 1724 in Sheffield, and they were well known for making high quality cutlery. They got a royal warrant to make knives for the British monarchy in 1821 from William IV. And they produced knives for the royal court through 5 different monarchs: William IV, George IV, Victoria, Edward VII, and George V. Now, my research and my understanding of it is that they could only use the cutlers to his, or in some cases her or their majesties, during the period that they had the royal warrant. So, broad range, for the knife to say cutlers to His Majesty, Her Majesty, or their majesties, it would have to be sometime between 1821 and 1936. Now, the first clue is the fact that it says England on the back. They began to put England on the knives after the Tariff Act of 1890. So we know that this knife was made 1891 or later. Also, as you can see, it says His Majesty. Now, if it was made in 1891 or later, it would have to be Victoria, Edward VII, or George V. If it was Victoria, it would either say Her Majesty, or some of them said their majesties to recognize her husband, Prince Albert, as well. So we know it wasn't Victoria. That leaves Edward VII, who was king from 1901 until 1910, and George V, who was king from 1910 to 1936. Now, given the pretty good shape that this knife is in and the styling, I'm going to guess that it was probably made during the reign of George V, so sometime between 1910 and 1936, and I'm guessing probably closer to the end of that period, so sometime in the early to mid 30s. Again, that's the process I went through to try to date this. I think I'm probably correct, but I can't guarantee it. Again, if you know differently or have a different opinion, please do let me know. Well, let's take a look at this knife. As I say, it is in really, really good shape given the date range that I think it's from. It has mother of pearl covers and nickel silver bolsters. It has brass liners, and as you can see, it is a split back or a split spring design. It's got 2 springs, has a middle divider that gets narrower and narrower until it finally disappears, and so there's no divider down at this end. You have 3 blades. The main blade is this spear point, and it operates on both of these back springs. See, it's got just a little nail neck and the Rodgers Cutlers to His Majesty tang stamp. The main blade comes in about just a little shy of 2 inches. We then have 2 secondary blades. The first is this very narrow pen blade or small spear point blade. Again, you can see the tang stamp, Rodgers Cutlers to His Majesty. And again, although this one does not say England, it does have the star and the Maltese cross. This secondary comes in just a little over 1.5 inches in length. Oh, and as you can see, it operates on one of the back springs. Then we have the third blade. This is quite different from most whittlers. It's not an actual cutting blade. It is a nail file. Again, you see the tang stamp. This has number 6 Norfolk Street. Let's see, the rest of it reads Sheffield. So number 6 Norfolk Street, Sheffield, which was the Rodgers address at the time, and then the star and the Maltese cross. And again, this secondary blade is riding on one spring. And that's a hallmark of a split back whittler design. The main blade operates on both springs and the secondaries each operate on one. I find this to be just a lovely little knife. It's in excellent shape. The only issue is, you can see there is a crack right there in the mother of pearl. Can barely feel it. It's unfortunate, but it doesn't take too much away from it for me. Great knife, glad to have it. Hope you found this interesting. If you did, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.